Greetings, everyone. A very happy new year. Welcome to our show, Ghosts Are Near, where we discuss various aspects of the paranormal and paranormal exploration. I am your host, Keith Johnson, the founder of N.E.A.R, New England Anomalies Research. With me is my co-host and co-founder, Sandra Johnson.
Good evening.
Nice to see everyone here tonight. And I'd like to begin by reading a little response we've gotten, and we always love our communication, so we really do appreciate your response.
Coming.
Exactly. This is from our demonology presentation recently. Dear Keith, Sandra, and Lisa, thank you, and thank you. It was such a gift and a treat to be there for your Demonology 101 in North Attleboro last Friday. I had been looking forward to it as soon as I bought my tickets from Attleboro Paranormal Investigations, and your visit exceeded my expectations. All three of you were wonderful and real. I have to admit, I never got hooked on the ghost hunters, ghost adventurers, etc. craze. The only reason I recently rented the first season of Ghost Hunters was because of your Ghosts Are Near program. Oh, nice. Appreciate that so much. There is a sincerity to Keith that I immediately trusted as a demonologist, investigator, and individual. Well, I do appreciate that very much. And thank you especially, Keith, for speaking with me, as I was lucky to be the first to have you sign my book. I would love to follow up if there is a Demonology 102 and 103 in the near future, and I will grab and read your third book as soon as it is available. God bless you all, and I hope to be blessed with seeing you all again soon. Thank you again, Frank Wilmoth. I appreciate that, Frank, very much.
That's so nice.
That is so nice.
Book 3.
Oh, yeah, it's on its way. It's on its way.
Poke, poke.
So this evening, the evening of the Wolf Moon, actually, we are very blessed to have some great guests. RISEUP Paranormal, Ken DeCosta, and David DeCosta. A couple of great-looking guys, too.
Absolutely.
Well, glad to see you guys here tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us. Our
Finally
pleasure.
have you on.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
It's been 5 years or so.
Yeah, right. Our first guest of the new year, 2012.
Excellent.
So great.
Excellent.
Excellent. Well, let's get those questions going.
Absolutely. You know, we were talking just before the show started, just before we started rolling here, about the origins of your group, and it turns out that the name of your group has an interesting origin.
Something I never knew.
Itself.
It does. You were unwitting pawns in the idea of RISEUP. A lot of people have said that you guys have a really cool name. You know, how did you come up with that? If you remember a few years back, you gave a talk in our hometown of Tiverton, going back about 5 years.
Oh, yes, I
and we were
that.
thinking of putting a group together at the time. So we had read that you were appearing and giving a talk along with Carl, and we said, well, we got to go. We ended up keeping you for about a half hour afterwards, wouldn't let you go. We had so many questions and things that we were trying to just sort of, you know, get across what our point was and get your opinions on things. So you invited us to a taping of your show back at the old studios. And we left that night for the taping, and we said, gee, you know, they're going to ask us how we're doing, I mean, with this group thing, because the world needed, of course, one more paranormal group at the time, so we volunteered for it. And so we hit, like, Seekonk, we're on 195, and we're like, we got to come up with a name. We got to get a name for our group. What are we going to call it? Rhode Island. Okay, Rhode Island, yeah. Okay, I like Society. Society sounds cool.
Society's good.
By the time we hit Warwick, we were RISEUP. So when we met Keith at the door, he says, so how you doing with the group? Great. So what do you call yourself? RISEUP. So then the pressure was on me because I had to remember what the acronym stood for. So I managed to get that out. So the very origins of the name RISEUP Paranormal, we have you to thank for that, because we were under undue pressure to come up with a name, and we've spent a lot of money on t-shirts and business cards, so we're going to stay with it at this point.
Oh,
Sounds like a plan. And it does stand for?
The Rhode Island Society for the Examination of Unusual Phenomena.
Ah, that says it all.
Yeah.
Great name, great name.
Mouthful. I like it.
And we're stuck with it now. So.
Yeah, a lot of that was just basically because we wanted to keep the umbrella. I know a lot of the focus right now is on hauntings. Hauntings are a big thing. A lot of that is just demographic. You know, people are there to experience them as opposed to the cryptozoology and the UFOs. But we went with for the examination of unusual phenomena, just because we're interested in all of it.
Yeah, it really is. Paranormal is the paranormal. Anything above what's known by science and accepted by science, and there are things that fall outside that, beyond ghost hauntings and things like that.
And now, how is it being, I know you're not the whole team sitting here, but you're sort of the main members, the main investigators, father-son team. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we started this, he kind of came, he didn't have a choice, he came in. The kid
You're in.
He never stood a chance.
I grew up on a healthy diet of ghost stories, ghost books, UFOs.
And baseball,
old sightings episodes, but yeah, there's always sports and baseball and things like that too.
Well, we started with
baseball can be very paranormal too. You know, if you've seen
yes,
a few of
I think Dan
Gordon
would tell you that. We started with 5 members in this group. We're all friends that, excuse me, that wanted to go out and have their own experiences and see what exactly was out there. Go to some of these locations and find out what it is that makes people have these experiences and the cause and effect of them. And since then, we've grown to 20 members covering 2 states, Rhode Island and Connecticut. We also have a group, RISEUP Connecticut, not a very creative name, but there are 8 members down there as well. And some of just the finest people, they're the people who will pull over if you have a flat tire on the side of the road.
Good people to know.
That type of person. So we're very blessed and lucky to have the quality of people that we have in this group, and just great investigators too.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And you two get along on investigations?
Oh, absolutely.
A family dynamic there?
Yeah, we're father-son, but we're, in many ways we're best friends.
Yeah,
that's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And a good thing with that too is a lot of times you get to chip off the old block, but I think that we're pretty diverse as far as our different interests. I mean, we're interested in all of it, obviously, but as far as how we approach things, he tends to go from a very pragmatic, scientific point of view, and that's the RISEUP mantra, is that pragmatism, using common sense more than anything, just to try and solving problems by using your own common sense and opening your eyes, ears, and trying to experience what's really going on in a location.
Tool.
It's one of the things that we tried to do. Was when we started this, we wanted to do it and kind of challenge conventional wisdom a little bit. Because there are certain things, the square pegs and square holes, and what we wanted to do was approach it more not from a believer or a skeptical point of view. I know it's very chic to say we approach a case skeptically, process of elimination, the old Sherlock Holmes deal, but I think if you come in as a skeptic, it can be just as damaging in a way as being a believer. Yes. Because you are approaching it with a bias in either way. So what we always tried to do was approach things more as observers than anything. And yes, we try to come up with alternate explanations and things like that, but not lean more one or the other, because it can skew your results either way if you're coming from one certain point of view. So in that matter, we wanted to do things a little bit differently.
Yeah. I mean, we all have our own beliefs and our own right to belief, but as far as doing this as an organization, it really is just being in a place, being in a location, or being around people and experiencing what they're experiencing, experiencing the location, experiencing the atmosphere. Because you can promote particular points of view, or you can negate particular points of view. But at the end of the day, it's we're a bunch of people sitting in a studio, or a bunch of people sitting in a room or a house. And we're all trying to just have the experience, share the experience.
Right.
Okay, and on that note, I would like you to expound a little bit on your different cases that you've done, your different locations. we had Margaret Florio on, and she has done a lot of work at the Fort Adams in Newport, and you guys have been there. And what was your take on that location?
Fort Adams is like many places. There are a lot of legends. I mean, we are fortunate to live where we do. There are a lot of legends and a lot of folklore attached to places. Going into a place like Fort Adams is very daunting because of the sheer size of it. And once you start to research the history, even more so. As far as the experiences we had actually a couple of pretty profound things happen there that, again, we weren't expecting anything. We never try to expect anything. But some of the voices from the past that we received after we cut away every possible rational explanation for it were pretty incredible. And we were very, very fortunate to have spent the time that we did there.
Control, especially with some of the voices that we got there, I mean, control is always an issue for everybody. Everybody preaches control, control, control. But you really can't underestimate what can be picked up and what can't be picked up. But a place like that, one, you're encased in stone. And I think when we were there, they're actually getting ready to fix it. We were doing the Fortress of Nightmares event. They were going to use some of that money to restore the stonework. They had the Scottish masons out there, you know, looking at everything, looking at the architecture. But yeah, you laugh, but you do almost become isolated out there. You know, you've got the sailboats, you've got the yachts and things like that, and sometimes you can hear some noise coming from across the water. But I mean, when you get out there, it's dark. There's no electricity.
Right.
There are areas that you probably want to be careful around or stay out of, but as a whole, I mean, there's still a lot of great things in there. There's a lot of, we've got the old cannons, some of the old furniture, things like that.
You almost interject yourself into a certain era. And that's really been the backbone for us, has been historic research, because while science tells us that they cannot prove a haunting in a laboratory setting, anthropologists and archaeologists would argue that the world is their laboratory. So I think paranormal investigation falls along those lines as well. And I think that historical research can prove a haunting. You know, if person A and person C have lived in the house, they don't know each other, but they've had the same experiences. So again, the backbone of what we do really is really extensive historical research. It gives us a direction to go in. And when we go to places like, whether it's Belcourt Castle, Fort Adams, the Payne Museum in Coventry, Governor Bradford House in Bristol, we've been to 18 now locations that are on the National Register. And we're pretty proud of that, and we're also very honored that we were allowed into these places to really get an in-depth look away from the normal tours and go behind the scenes. So that's a fascinating aspect of this for us.
I know we have some video footage of you guys in those locations that we're talking about. Before we get to that, I just had one other question. You know that Keith and I specialize in malevolent hauntings mainly, and that's what we're called to do a lot of the times by other groups. When your group seems to, when you find yourself in that position, and it seems to be a client case or even just any other location where there seems to be a malevolent haunting, even an inhuman, how does your group handle that situation?
I think the first thing that we do is probably assess the situation before declaring anything. But if we feel that we're in the presence of something that is potentially harmful or aggressive, I think that each individual prepares themselves for that. Now, whether that's through prayer or whether that's just a matter of getting your head on straight, everybody has a different way of going about it. But I think that falling in line with what we do, basically, we're trying to document We're not necessarily trying to use provocation as a tool or anything
I'm
like
glad to hear that.
Yeah, very glad to hear that. Yeah.
But really, we want to assess the situation and be careful that we're not enabling or inflaming someone who's already in a very fragile state of mind. So I think that comfort and understanding when you go into something like that is paramount. That's crucial for us.
I think you hit the big nail on the head for me, and I think a lot of times, and this is no disrespect obviously to demonology and the field of demonology, because it is necessary, and there are certain circumstances where there are third parties, that third party haunting, that third party oppression, but there is a lot of there's a big popular notion that hauntings are typically, scary events or, malevolent events, and that's, I don't think, we've just found that to not really be true at this point. We've come across cases, particularly with families, where when things aren't going on. I mean, we've had people with scratches, people waking up with bruising, things like that. The key for us before we go and contact, yourselves or clergy, we really want to assess people's psychological, well-being.
Sure, right.
Absolutely.
Sometimes things like that, people could have something like a sleep disorder, where they don't get a restful sleep, and husbands and wives are intentionally and unintentionally beating each other up in bed, and it's things like that, or making sure somebody's not delusional or schizophrenic, because there are different sorts of disorders like that where they're not always prevalent. People have they have spats of the behavior, and that's not to say that the majority of people aren't in their right mind and making a positive assessment, but
and not jumping to conclusions in an obviously fragile environment.
You could be inflaming something that could be very mundane, or could be something that's an issue of health and well-being, and just make sure that you take care of that before we go the next step and make that call to you guys.
I think we've gotten a little bit better on, controlling ourselves, not beating each other up, beating on each other, that sort of thing.
If we've helped that in any way, it's
Yeah, appreciate it. We might as well get right into the video footage. Sure. Do you want to talk a little bit about it before we actually get right to it?
Yeah, there's Belcourt Castle, right?
Yeah, you're going to see some clips of some of the historically significant locations that we've been privileged to visit, and some of the things we caught there. The Payne House Museum, Belcourt Castle, again, Sprague Mansion, and what am I leaving out?
St. Anne's Cathedral?
St. Anne's Cathedral in
Woonsocket,
Rhode Island, which we just recently visited toward the end of last year. So some of the more interesting things that we've had there that we've caught on video and audio. So.
Okay, well, let's see if we can bring it up.
Not so bad.
You can clear your house. Okay. On our way. Okay. Look anything over here? Yeah, what's that?
You want to put it down, maybe there's a little cabinet or something back here next to, I don't know, someplace to set it. Maybe near a doll, or there's a little bed over here.
Could you light up the green light that's on the table right now?
Holy cow.
Oh my God.
Okay, could you light up the meter that this young lady is holding in her hand right now?
Oh my God, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, could you light up the meter that is on the table again right now, please?
Holy cow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. See, this is going to give us proof to
way.
let other people know that we're not alone.
No way.
Very happy.
No
Over my whole body.
way.
But you're good with it, right?
Yeah.
She's good with it.
No way.
I came all the way from England for this. Thank you so
All right,
much.
if you light up the meter that the young lady has in her hand again, I am going to walk out of this room. Okay, I'm going to leave you alone. Could you do?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No way.
Thank you very much.
Very interesting, Ken and Dave. Some great footage there.
Yeah.
And I like that with the K2s, like kind of yes and no, back and forth right next to each other. And
It's something that in working with them, I mean, we place, you know, a modicum of faith in them because there's certainly a lot of outside influences that you know, can happen on K2 meters. But we always wondered if it's possible to have, if you can light one, and if that's possible, if you have one a foot away, why not yes, no, left, right? So we decided to do a little experiment at Belcourt, and we're obviously pleasantly surprised at the result of that.
And the door that moved, that was a 60-pound door?
Yeah, that's a heavy-duty door. The funny thing, and that area of Belcourt is up in the orchestra loft. So it's an area that has a lot of things up there that they didn't necessarily want in the house. That door being one of them, but probably one of the biggest, heaviest doors of its size that I've ever seen. 60-pound, 70-pound solid oak door.
I'm impressed.
So,
It didn't really fit in the decor. It's just something they probably picked up somewhere.
Right.
Because it fit the hole. But it was interesting that, again, a lot of these things are all on review. They're not being asked to happen, or there's no interaction or anything like that. You go home, you review your footage, and I know it seems as though everywhere we've gone, we catch something, but you know, on over 200 investigations over the last 5 years or so, obviously, you know,
You gotta
those
capture
are pretty
something.
rare. You know, those things are pretty rare.
right, right. And you had been mentioning that you do delve into cryptozoology and UFOs, and we do too at times. I mean, it's something's out there, it's paranormal, it needs to be explored, right?
Absolutely.
And
What in particular have you found of interest as far as cryptids and UFOs? What experiences have you had?
We've
in
actually
that?
been revisiting a local case from back in 1977, the Dover Demon.
yes, yeah, Dover Demon,
And
yeah.
we talked a little bit about a conference that we were at. And it's one of the more compelling sightings to me, because a lot of people say it was a bunch of high school kids that all got together and fabricated this thing. But I think that there are better ways to fabricate something than to take your story to the police.
Yeah,
if you're trying to get out of something. The first sighting happened with a couple of teenage boys who drove by the side of the road, and on a stone wall they saw what they described as a creature with a watermelon head and long spindly arms. 2 hours later, 2 teenagers on foot said they saw and described the exact same thing. And then 24 hours later, 2 more teenagers said that they had seen that. But that particular area on Farm Road in Dover has a pretty interesting, colorful history to it.
That I wasn't aware of actually how far that goes back.
A farmer named George Battelle said that he witnessed His Satanic Majesty on horseback one day back in the late 1800s, and there are also some rumors of buried treasure there. And every once in a while someone will find some digging around the rock. So apparently, if you're a treasure hunter out there, you know, I don't suggest you trespass on anybody's property, but maybe someday somebody will come up with it. But it's interesting how 3 different unusual events occurred in that one area.
And what would be your opinion, your theory on the origin of this creature? I mean, you must have some opinion, lean one way or the other, transdimensional, UFO.
I honestly believe that what they saw was probably something called, and you know what this is, a time slip.
Yeah.
Just something that does not belong in this particular era, that just somehow or another managed
like an ancient
to show
alien
itself.
or something from 800,000 years hence?
In our past or in our future.
Yeah, true, very true. Oh, we've only got like a minute left, and you know, anybody in the audience, as we're wrapping up, I'd like to invite you to come down if you'd like to actually get to meet Ken and Dave DeCosta in the flesh, in person. Now's your chance. Now's your golden opportunity to come down and meet them. So if you want to come down and meet them, that would be great.
Come on down.
I know Sandra wanted to ask you something about the Great Swamp.
Sure.
Well, that was one area that I know that you guys have explored that you didn't have video footage of, and maybe you could just tell us your experiences from that particular investigation.
It rained out that day.
Yeah, that was kind of a yuck day, but the truth about the Great Swamp, it was the place of the Swamp Massacre, the Great Swamp Massacre.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got the trauma there that could contribute to.
People claim to have sighted like floating heads around there, dating from the original massacre.
Yeah, going back to probably turn of the century, turn of the 19th century.
Yeah. And there were beheadings at that location, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yeah. And the other thing about it is it's one of the most beautiful walks that you'll ever take out in the wetlands, especially if you like waterfowl and ospreys and things like that. It's really an amazing area to go. Just go experience it, be part of the history. And,
get some fresh air.
Yeah.
Fresh air.
Guys, I hope you come back again and
we would love
share more of your findings. And we got to get together and get out in the field and do some research too.
That's absolutely.
Look for that Rhode Island Bigfoot that's out there. You know.
That will happen.
By the way, I want everyone to know it's my brother that coined the term "Big Roadie" in the recent episode. I don't think they mentioned that he was the one that came up with it. Carl Johnson's the one that came up with the term "Big Roadie" as little roadie. So just to put that on the record, everyone. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much. Happy New Year. Good night.
Happy New Year. 2012.